President Biden just went from bashing nearly half of America to trying to gaslight the nation. We all saw it on Thursday evening. And it involves some of the most explosive comments he made during that speech, where he vilified MAGA Republicans and Trump supporters. But listen to what he is saying now when a reporter pressed him about it.
Mr. President, do you consider all Trump supporters to be a threat to the country?
No, everyone, come on.
Come on, look, guys. You keep trying to make that case. I don't consider any Trump supporter to be a threat to the country.
Really? That's curious, because he said the exact opposite of that on Thursday night. Watch.
There's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Luttig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
Tammy, I'm getting really dizzy because on Saturday, he then doubled down on the initial Thursday comments after the backtrack. So he tweets Saturday, the MAGA ideology looks at America and sees carnage and darkness and despair. That's it in part. And then Sunday, the MAGA agenda represents an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. It doesn't respect our Constitution. So it's just like the swinging pendulum of like, What are you saying, President?
It's like they don't know what they're doing, just like with Afghanistan, and just like with the economy, and just like with the supply chain crisis, and just like with the vice president who knows what's going on at the border. It is almost a reactionary framework every day, almost every hour. I would think his initial backtrack was because they were shocked at the reaction immediately. Someone was like, somebody who was not in a coma or somebody who's not, at AOC's feet said, wait a minute, we can't say that. That's not true, because let's remember, they don't define MAGA Republican, but let's remember what that is. Make America great again. And we saw what that was for 4 years. It made America great again. Best economy in the history of the world, right? The Middle East peace process having success after a quarter of a century. Americans, the wage gap was decreasing. We know what that means. And for Americans reacting, it was like, wait a minute, I'm a tax-paying regular person who minds my own business, and I love my country, and I'm trying to do good with my family, and now I'm like a threat to the republic? So this is what resonated, and all Americans were shocked. And even, I think that CNN made the red light pink.
Yes.
And what that tells you is, one, they want to mislead people, but two, they also knew that it was bad.
Yeah.
Because why else would you want to change it?
Right.
So it's back and forth. Chaos, no real plan. I think they saw polls, they saw the reaction, and they're bouncing around. Clearly no way to run a country.
Right. CNN taking the red, almost satanic-looking background and making it like a lovely, hardish pink.
Tammy's jacket. It was like my jacket. It was like, let's make it look like Tammy's jacket.
They say it was a technical difficulty. Okay, right. Not sure how that happens. James, interesting reporting from Politico. They said this was months in the making. Biden has been wanting to do this since June. And John Meacham, the historian, apparently had a hand in writing this. And Jonathan Turley did some digging and reminded us that this is what John Meacham, this is the guy who wrote the Biden speech, this is what he said in 2020. Listen.
There is a lizard brain in this country. Donald Trump is a product of the white man's, the anguished, nervous white guy's lizard brain. I think Trump did himself good with his base tonight. The question for America is how big that base is.
Lizard brains. That may explain the speech.
Yeah, the speech was a disgrace. If the president is confused by what he said, I think he's not alone. Presenting himself as the champion of limited constitutional governance. Does this mean he's now going to stop trying to transfer $500 billion to $1 trillion of debt to taxpayers without any authorization from Congress? This would be good news if he meant it, but I think he seems within days to not understand what he even said. So
that's right. And Politico went on to say this, Dr. Sapphire, the belief inside the White House is that the address was simply unavoidable. Multiple aides and allies said it would have been a dereliction of duty had Biden not spoken up. That's just interesting because to Tammy's point, I've got to believe some rational minds were like, this isn't a good look. But the White House aides apparently said, hey, we need more of this.
Well, this seems pretty par for the course for the Biden administration. He says something and then they have to quickly walk it back. But I truly think that this was a majorly big missed opportunity for the president to call out political extremism of both sides. I mean, he was talking about, instead of just being prejudiced against millions of Americans, he wanted to talk about lawlessness. Why doesn't he call out the far left and there's some of their extremism policies, the far left who are supporting the rioters, defunding the police and decriminalization? Or he said that one of the biggest threats are the election deniers. What about the election manipulators? How about the fact that Democrats have been putting forth over $40 million to support some of these GOP candidates, which they think are the weaker ones, to kind of help formulate what's going to happen in the actual election? Rather, this tactic of bullying and name calling, that is not how it's going to bring our country to a level of prosperity and strength. He needs to focus on good policy and not what he's doing right now, because all he is doing is further separating our country and not the unity that he campaigned on.
That's right. And Martha Raddatz, she asked about that $43 million, or at least part of it, on Sunday. She also asked about the 70 million Trump supporters he chose to demonize.